rotation by 90 degrees or 270 degrees. So before we jump into our examples, we're going to go over the coordinate system again. So remember that this little area on the right, to the right of the y-axis and above the x-axis is our, this is quadrant 1. Then we move counterclockwise, and this is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. Now, in quadrant 1, so it's to the right. If we move to the right on the x-axis and go up on the y-axis, these are both positive values. Now, quadrant 2, we actually have to have a negative x value and then a positive y value. So we can see it as negative and positive. Quadrant 3 is both negative, and then quadrant 4 is going to have positive x and a negative y value. So these are the quadrants and then relating to the positive and negative x and y values of each quadrant. So now let's jump into the example. Example 1, triangle XYZ has the following vertices. So x is 2, 4, y is 4, negative 1, and z is 5, 4. First, we're going to draw the triangle. Then, if the triangle XYZ is rotated 90 degrees, which is counterclockwise, around the center, we're going to draw the new coordinates of the vertices of the triangle x prime, y prime, z prime. So let's go ahead and first draw the first triangle. So x is 2, 4, so it's just like the last one. So 2, 4. Then y is 4, negative 1, so 4, negative 1. And then z is 5, and then 4. We can fill in our triangle here by connecting the dots. Now, let's go ahead and do this. So we can go over how rotating 90 degrees looks, what it looks like. So this is, the rotation. So we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So that means we're going to go from mostly quadrant 1 over here to quadrant 2, So we're going counterclockwise. Now the first thing we're going to just do when we rotate either 90 degrees or 270 degrees, what we do is we switch the x and y values. So x prime now becomes 4, 2. So y prime, we're just switching the values. We're not going to worry about positives or negatives now. So we're going to go from 1 to 4. And then z prime is then 4, 5. So notice we didn't care about the negative signs or the positive signs, We're just writing them all as positive. So now we're going to go from quadrant 1 mostly to quadrant 2. But notice this little quadrant. So how do we think about the signs? Well, it actually has to go back to, at the very beginning of this video, we talked about quadrant 1 is just positive, positive. Quadrant 2 is the negative, positive, and then quadrant 3 is negative, negative, and then quadrant 4, is positive, negative. So what we're doing here then is if we're moving, say, any coordinates in quadrant 1 and we rotate it 90 degrees, now we're going to have the coordinates of negative and then positive. So our x value is negative, our y value is positive. So this then becomes negative 4 and then positive 2. Then we look at, z. Z is going to be 4 and then 5. So which one's negative? Well, it's the x value because it starts out here, but then it moves over here, so the x value needs to go to negative. Now, let's look at y. Y is different because it's in quadrant 4. So really, quadrant 4, rotating 90 degrees, is going to end up in quadrant 1, which is just going to be positive, positive. So we're just going to leave it as 1 and 4. So these are our new coordinates, right? Now let's go ahead and actually plot the points. So we have x prime, which is negative 4 and 2. So we go over 4, 2, 3, 4, up 2. Then we have y prime, which is 1 and 4. So this is going to be 1, and it's going to end up actually right there. And then we have z prime, which is negative 4, and then 5. So over 4, up 5. So if we plot this, this is what it looks like. So our triangle, rotating it 90 degrees, right, from here, then rotates to here, and that's our 90-degree rotation there. And then these are the coordinates. So let's do another example. So example 2, triangle XYZ has the following vertices. So if x is equal to 1, 2, y is 5 and 2, and z is 3, 5. First, we're going to draw the triangle. Then if the triangle XYZ is rotated 270 degrees, which is counterclockwise around the center, let's draw the new coordinates of the vertices, x prime, y prime, z prime, for the triangle. So let's go ahead. So let's first go 1, 2, y is 5, 2, and z is 3, 5. So x is 1, 2. So 1, 2, right there. Y is 5, 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. Then z is 3, 5. So let's go over 3, up 5. Notice it's the same triangle as the last video, but we're going to do something different by rotating it 270 degrees. So notice it's all in quadrant 1, right? Let's go over quadrants in terms of what values they hold. And then, right, quadrant 4 is going to be positive, negative. So if we are rotating 270 degrees, which is counterclockwise, that means we rotate here, which is 90 degrees, here, which is 180, and then we end up in quadrant 4. So we're going to end up here. So how we go about this, right? Let's think about this. Same thing as rotations. We're switching the x and y values. So now x becomes 2, 1. Y becomes 2, 5. And z becomes 5, 3. So if we are going from a positive quadrant to a positive negative quadrant, right, where the x values are positive and then the y values are negative, that means we need to go ahead and add our negative signs to our y values. So all our y values are negative. And now we can just go ahead and plot. So x then becomes 2 and then negative 1. So over 2, down 1. Then y is over 2, down 5. So 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have z, which is 5 and negative 3. So we go over 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So this, I should have labeled this. So this is z, this is x, and this is y. So you can see that if we rotated it, right, 270 degrees, this is what it would look like.